Right, hello everybody, welcome to the Clery football channel, and it had to happen eventually, didn't it? Every time we get set to do a Man United video, they have a terrible result, but last night against Bournemouth, they had maybe their best performance under Ruben Amorim. He made a really significant, long-awaited change to their system, and for like 80-ish of the 100 minutes they played, he looked like he had finally cracked it with this group of players. So let's have a look at what that change was, and more importantly, why it was more importantly. Little reminder from the jump here that ACFC is brought to you in proud partnership with FotMob. They are our official data provider. We use their stuff absolutely all the time. The app absolutely rules. So that's my phone. Go download it if you haven't already. But the big question on everybody's lips before, during, and indeed after that game is, was this finally a back four? Like, this is how Manchester United normally set up, and these are the players who started that game, so it looked on the face of it like no change had been made whatsoever. But, and I'll just sweep these bums away, these were the average positions all those players took up in that game. And it's a little bit weird in terms of player profiling, like the back four is a little bit janky, but regardless, that is clearly a back four. You've got two midfielders sitting neatly in front of them, wide attackers in wide areas, and Cunha and Mbeumo pretty much on top of each other because they kept taking it in turns to drop off and go beyond each other. You saw as many examples of Cunha feeding Mbeumo, like this one is absolutely brilliant and should have made it 2-0, as you did of Mbeumo picking it up in a deeper position to try and supply Cunha. Combination play at the very top end of the pitch. It's a novel concept, I know, but it did used to be so much of Man United's attacking identity. It's almost weird seeing it again after all this time. But the reason I mentioned the profiles being a little bit weird is out of all the centre-backs on the pitch here, I would argue Leny Yoro is probably the best one. I don't know if you agree with that, that might just be me, but I'd say he's probably better than Shaw and Heaven, and yet he ends up being out at right back. But the reason for that is this is just how modern 4-2-3-1s function. They do have a back three hidden deep within them, and by having Yoro there, that allowed Dalot to push right the way up the field to provide a bit of width, and these three to tuck along into a back three. And now Yoro, yes, he is at right back, but he's also dropping in at centre back. And Dalot pushing forward also gives you what you want at the top end of the pitch, which is an attacking line of five, and they allowed, finally, Bruno Fernandes to push right up behind that, and they sort of gave you this kind of shape when Man United were in possession. Look, you can see it here. And this lets you get Bruno Fernandes in the area you want him to be in, with five attackers in front of him to supply chances for, and also just all your best attacking players in attacking areas with the ability to rotate. Quite a lot in that first half, Dalot was rotating with Mount, so one would sit on the touchline and one would come in field. But if you look at the first goal, Dalot has stayed out wide this time. Because of the positioning of Mount, that allows him to come in field, which not only opens the pitch up for him, but enables him to cross on his strong foot. And if you recall what happens in this goal, you're probably thinking, well, it was a little bit fortunate that it sort of drops through and the goalkeeper sort of panics and it just kind of bounces in off Ahmad. But just as that ball comes in, right, that is four Man United players attacking the box in open play really, really early on with your best creative player here just behind it all. And yes, I will concede the goal has an element of luck about it, but situations like this are precisely how you make your own luck. Man United don't really commit this many bodies forward, so they don't get it usually. And you could argue that both goals in that first half were a little bit on the soft side, but the actual performance in that opening 45 was as good as I have ever seen from Man United under Ruben Amorim, and maybe even a year or two before that as well. And the thing is, this shape made a lot of sense for them defensively as well, because Ruben Amorim, like most managers to be fair, wants to have the ability to have a back five when you're defending. Like, they normally have it all the time, and that is a problem, but even when you set up like this, it is a good idea to be able to go into one. And so when Man United got pushed really deep, again, not all the time, only when they really did have to sit in, you would again see Yoro tuck in and Ahmad go and cover at right back, with Mbeumo coming across to cover that space in front of him. I can't stress this enough. Like, I was really impressed with how defensively flexible Man United were in this game. Like, the thing we keep criticising them for is when they're on the verge of a really bad result, like Tottenham in the Europa League final, Grimsby in the Cup, 10 men Everton at home, they are still rigidly sitting with 5 defenders when they need to commit some extra bodies forward. And I am not a Manchester United fan, and I still find myself sitting there screaming at the television, if you want to change a game, sometimes you have to take a risk, not defend opposition goal kicks with 4 more players than they are committing forwards. And it's also just such a waste of Ahmad as well. Like, I think he is such a good player, but constantly putting him in games and needing him to think like a defender at all times is just such an enormous waste of his ability. And not just that, it causes problems with the system as well. Like, this is a goal they conceded the other week because he just gets the most basic defensive positioning wrong. And that, for me, is not his fault. Wing-back is just such a specialist position that unless you literally grew up playing it during your developmental years, all of them, not just these ones, then you're either a defender who does not offer enough in the final third, or an attacker who keeps getting caught out defensively. It always happens like that. But here, you've got the best of both worlds. Like, you are not starting with a back 5. You are not wedded to it, but you are able to get into it when the situation requires it. And the main benefit we saw last night is that if you get the ball back in the middle of the pitch or high up, you're not asking players to have to run the entire length of the pitch to join in, or if you lose it, the entire length of the pitch back to try and defend. And to the former point I've just made there, winning it back high up, I can't remember seeing Man United this aggressive in the opposition's final third ever. Credit as ever to Mark Stats. Follow Mark Stats for the Chesney Hawk diagram here. This is every single time Bournemouth lost the ball in the danger zone, and all the stars, I'll move this so you can see it better, all the stars show the times Man United turned one of those into a shot. And in case you're wondering, 6 is loads. It's twice as many as Bournemouth had in this game, and those are pretty much Bournemouth's entire thing. Like, they've just been crying out for stuff like this for well over a year now. Bodies around the ball, real intensity in the press, and when they get it back, players already in advanced positions ready to break forward, not 30 yards behind the play or just walking around. So the system allows you to be more aggressive, great, and there's clearly some synergy developing with the players they bought in the summer. Fantastic, but what always makes the biggest difference to Man United in the opposition's half is how high up the pitch you either instruct or are able to get Bruno Fernandes. And if you're a Manchester United fan, you have no doubt noticed this bad home run that they've been on. And I'm going to show you Bruno Fernandes' passing map from 2 of those games, because I mean business, right? This, first of all, is the West Ham United match. And okay, he's getting on the ball quite a bit in the final third, but it seems to be more to the left, more to the right. He's not really getting in this central area. And how many of these passes find their way into the opposition box? There are 2 that I can count in 90 minutes. And in a game you are not winning, that is not good enough. And it's obviously not through lack of ability. He's a fantastic player, but this system sometimes doesn't allow him to get into impactful areas or find his teammates when he does. And this is against Everton. You remember that game, don't you? They had 1,000,000% possession and still lost it. And Fernandes is once again not really able to get into these central areas as easy as he goes slightly to the left and slightly to the right. And how many times does he find a friend in the box? Again, that's about 2. This is your best player, your most important player, your most creative player, and you are not providing him a platform with which to be important or create or whatever the third word I said was. But this, my friends, is the Bournemouth game. And first off, you will notice he is on the ball a lot less than those other 2 matches. The possession was considerably lower, but also he's doing more with it when he is. His focus is in this central area. He's not constantly getting pushed out into these left and right half spaces. He's finding teammates in the box 7, 8, 9 times. I can't actually see them. And even a lot of these deeper passes, they are forwards through Bournemouth lines, not constantly side to side. And the changes between these two graphs, and to be fair, we saw a little bit of it against Wolves in the previous fixture as well, is a mentality shift, not from Fernandes, but from Amorim. Like, Fernandes, God bless him, he is not a deep, patient, tempo-setting, 100 touches per game defensive midfielder, even if he is good enough to be. He wants to be up here, doing this with this many players in front of him, and if you let him do that, your team will be better as a result. And yes, you're right, the way I am going on about this Man United setup and the structure and the team and the changes, you would think they had gone and won this game and won it well, which of course they didn't. So why didn't they? Well, I think this is great and it's exciting and it makes them a threat at the top end of the pitch and they're really good to watch if they play this way, but it does not enable them to control games very well yet. So neither side had any real, it's the word I want, stability in this match, and in games such as that comes down to individual moments, and a type of individual moment is an individual mistake. Now, I am about to single out Aiden Heaven for 2 of these goals here, but just before I do so, I would like to point out that when you are 19 years old, with less than 10 senior starts in the league to your name, you are there to make mistakes. You're allowed to do that. It's quite literally the only way you're ever going to learn. So this is not me digging him out. It's merely an arrangement of some facts. First, Man United have a loose touch that Semenyo jumps all over, and Heaven sticks to his responsibility here instead of assessing the situation correctly and covering across. Like, you can see Mason Mount telling him both before and after the goal that he needs to come over here and not let him get the shot away so easily. And then for the second goal, it goes back a fair old while and is considerably more complicated than this, but what it comes down to is that at the crucial moment, he is just not quite on the same page and thus the same line as the rest of that defence. Bournemouth get a small opening, they get into it, and they finish. And to be entirely fair to this Manchester United performance and the result as a consequence, all of Bournemouth's goals in this game are astonishingly ruthless. If you are in any way asked about the mathematical power of expected goals, right, then those first 3 that Bournemouth get come off an XG combined of 0.4. That is an overperformance in front of goal of about 750%, which is a lot. And while the 4th goal is about as good a chance as all the others combined, it's only an insane first touch that kills this ball dead and lets him get that shot away in the fraction of a second he's got. And just if you are going to let me give Aiden Heaven a pass for those first 2 goals because of a lack of experience, then there is no excuse for Martinez on this one. He does have experience and he doesn't recognise that this gap is too big. He needs to close that off as the move develops, but let's put it down to ring rust, shall we? He just doesn't. Wait, hang on. Is ring rust a thing normal people say? Like, that's wrestling. If you've not wrestled in a while and you're a wrestler, you have a bit of ring rust. You're slower in there than you normally are. I've just realised if that's not a term in real life, it sounds incredibly weird. So that's what it means. But yes, anyway, Manchester United should have run away with this game. It is the best I think they have played under Ruben Amorim. And if they persist with it, when they get their senior defenders back, it could be a very good season. Or at the very least, a very entertaining one. Or at the very, very least, a very entertaining one for the rest of us. But yes, that's all the things I think, and I do dearly like hearing about all the things you think, so get them in the comments down below so I can read them over the Christmas break I'm allegedly going to have. One thing I really want to do before the end of the year, I would love the social channels to have hit 10k on Instagram and TikTok, because that's the one target I got set this year that we haven't quite got yet. So if you do like Instagram and you do like TikTok and you like your content in short form, you can subscribe to those. We're really nearly there. That would be, you don't have to get me anything for Christmas, but if you wanted to, that's what I'm asking for. And hey, I mean, if you're new here entirely, you can also subscribe to the Adam Clery Football channel on YouTube, which is literally where you're watching this. We're really close to 200k subs there, which is what I would really like for Christmas, but I think we've left it a little bit too late to hit. Oh well, my birthday's in January, we can do it for that. So click the little button there, and you can also get me across all the social medias at Adam Clery, Clery. If I don't see you before Christmas, because we'll be doing other videos that might not be of any interest to you, have a very nice one. However you celebrate, whatever you do, whether you love it or you hate it, just get a little time for yourself. Have a little break, sit down, a couple of quality streets, call the midwife, I don't know what's on telly, just enjoy yourself. You do you. You look after you. You're great. And I mean that. Goodbye.